What's up? This is some recently recorded content. Today is January 2nd. Correct, Michael? Today's January 2nd. And myself, my friend Michael, and my friend Noah had the following conversation where we talk a lot of shit. So if you're not into it, I'm sorry. Don't listen if you're easily offended or if you know me. No, I'm kidding. If you know me, go ahead. Listen. Don't listen. Enjoy or turn it off. Either way, I hope you have fun with your life and prosper in all your ventures. And let's see. I guess I should talk about what we talk about a little bit so you can know if you potentially have a chance of liking it. We talk about politics a lot. We talk a little bit about schooling. Let's see, what else do we talk about? It's basically a bunch of nonsense and shit talking, and the audio is not great because we don't hold the mics close enough to our faces. And yeah, it's an hour. It's over an hour, so it's a long time already. So without further ado, here we go. Enjoy.
I'm buying a ticket for January 6th to DC to go protest at the White House.
Hello,
Boom.
freak bitches.
We laugh. What on God's green earth are you talking about?
No, tell
Yeah, so there's this event scheduled for January 6th in Washington, D.C. of people who are hoping to see the electoral college vote count contested. Obviously, that's Trump supporting people showing up in D.C. And the whole thing is to be organized by Mike.
We are all Trump supporting people. Some of us just have the courage to admit it.
That's not nearly true.
But it's not totally false either.
It's 80% true.
I'd say that's a good 80% true. Here's what I would say is that, in my humble opinion, the best thing about Trump was that he revealed a few deep-seated issues with American politics. And that is of note. That is worthy of some consideration. However, I'm not a big fan of politics in general, especially American politics these days. So I do think that there are some things that he did that were just self-serving. But, whatever.
Let me put it to you this way. I'm going to give you a list of other recent presidential candidates who were the primary party nominee. So Trump compared to Biden, Hillary, Obama, Romney, McCain, Gore, Clinton, Dole, H.W. Bush. Have you heard a name that
Good God.
Dukakis? Have you heard a name?
Good God.
Have you
Don't keep going.
Have you heard a name that you would take over Trump yet?
Okay, so
Yes or no?
I would say maybe with Romney.
Oof, I would take Trump over Romney.
Okay, yeah, I probably would too. It sounded like the one thing about Romney was like Romney, didn't he have like a really good record with Utah and like having their?
He's from Massachusetts.
He's from Massachusetts, but
That's where he was the governor.
Did he balance their budget in Massachusetts? Were they?
I don't know.
It was something about Utah. Oh, it was the Winter Olympics, I think, maybe, or something like that. That's propaganda. He wasn't gonna balance no budget.
Yeah, no.
Fuck me. No, he wasn't gonna do that. No, there's not a single one on that list. To your point. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, to drive the Romney point home even further, he recently issued a statement that, like, so there are a number of Republican Congress people who are objecting to the counting of the Electoral College as it stands, basically because they've seen enough irregularities in the election that they're not comfortable signing off on it. Most noteworthy of those is Ted Cruz. And
They made Ted Cruz look like he was batshit insane on the evening news today.
yeah, and Romney issued like, this is a disturbing and alarming threat to our democracy that someone like Ted Cruz would even entertain this idea. And it's like, bro,
Is it not the other way around in a way?
dude, anybody who really looks fairly at this knows that, here's the thing, you don't need to conclude Trump won. What anyone with half a serious examination and half an intelligence can see is that the margin of error on these vote counts are very high. Very high.
What are we talking about?
So it's like, how many illegitimate ballots were cast in these elections?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, if you do any digging at all, it's very easy, in my view, to determine that the number of suspect ballots very much exceeds the margin of victory of Biden in these swing states.
Yikes. Well, let's not get into that because we're going to sound like we're too partisan, I feel like.
That doesn't conclude that Trump won.
Oh, it doesn't?
What it concludes is, so here's one, I'll give you the simplest, shortest example.
Is this what we were talking about the other day in that podcast with
This
those numbers?
is going to be a one-sentence summary of just one thing that will illustrate the point that I'm saying.
That's beautiful.
In Georgia, there were 15,700 people that filed national change of address registrations with the federal government, saying they were saying they had moved out of Georgia, right? 15,700 of those people filled an NCOA is the acronym for it. Filed an NCOA after their Georgia voter registration and voted in the Georgia election. In other words, they had told the federal government, I no longer live in Georgia. They still voted in the election in the state of Georgia. 15,700 was...
And that's facts?
That's facts. 15,700
Try to speak into the mic.
15,700 of those in Georgia. The margin of victory for Biden was 12,000.
Wait. But they were not legal residents in Georgia anymore? Is that the point?
They had told the federal government, I left Georgia. So where exactly, maybe did they keep a residence in Georgia? I don't know. It's probably different person to person. It basically looks like people that left Georgia. So do we know that they all voted for Biden? No, we don't. But what we know is that 15,000 of suspect votes exceeds the margin of victory. And we got, to just put it succinctly, plenty more where that came from.
And I just don't think... Let's put aside who won and who lost. I would say this regardless of the situation. Maybe even in 2016, like the idea that our election process in this political system is clean is laughable.
It is laughable.
And if just intuitively, right?
Yeah.
And so if you are pushing so hard against that right now, you're consumed by partisan rhetoric. But unfortunately, we live in a crazy time where now also they've made it so that if you conclude that there is for sure, some sort of shenanigans going on, then your opinion is cast out too because you're clearly partisan.
Yeah.
Even though it's obvious, regardless of who won.
You're obviously speaking common sense right now. The reason I brought this up was just to say, in response to Romney being a potentially lifeline for us, Romney was the first one to unsolicited go out and say, this is an outlandish, absurd thing that's threatening the integrity of our country.
Fuck him.
Exactly. That's where I come with it. Like, I don't care what your tax policy is.
What does Rand Paul say?
Rand has...
What does Ron say?
Ron, I'll give you a verbatim quote. It looks like there was some shenanigans.
That's verbatim?
That's it. That's 82-year-old Ron Paul.
I mean...
He's only 82. He looks 102.
Yeah.
Damn. Bless him.
Bless him.
There are very few politicians to bless, but he is one.
He's one of them.
Wow. Okay. So, thank you, Michael. So, are we all booking our Washington D.C. take? The problem is we've made this now a left-right thing when it should really be an American thing, and in my estimation, an anti-government thing, which is
Dude,
one of
that's
the
the thing.
most American things that there is. Okay, go ahead.
I want to interject because I meant to interject last time. You're very aware. You're very
Chris.
aware of the partisan
Give me the
issue. You're very aware of the partisan issue. Don't think of it as a partisan issue. Think of it as you're following the
It's
truth.
okay. Don't worry about it.
Wherever it may lead you, it may lead you. And if you happen to be on one side or another, so be it.
And that's how I do try to live my life. It's just I have this embedded into me because of in my estimation, because I grew up largely on my mom's side of the family, them being very conservative Republican, and so I got hammered with that growing up. And then I went to Seattle U and I got hammered with the other side. And there was a few years where I was like, trying to figure out like where I'm at and all that. And it's very clear to me that whenever you try to discuss these sorts of things with people, you always have to be conscious not only of where they are at with their political kind of like blind spots and ideologies, but then also what you're saying. Even if you're not ideologically minded, you have to understand whatever you're saying, if it fits into like one of those camps, you have to understand where it fits into that camp so that you can discuss. I feel like these days, which is a horrible waste of time and nonsense, but at the same time, like in order to have like conversations with people that are at the very least, like civil and diplomatic, like you need to be aware of those things. So don't you guys think?
Sorry, being aware of what?
Like being aware of like where your opinion fits in the like national narrative, like because everybody wants to always say, oh, this opinion is, right wing, or this opinion is left wing, or whatever,
Yes, I agree. Because
do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, because if you're not aware of that, and you say it to the wrong person,
then they're not going to listen to a single
Right.
thing that you're going to say the rest of the time.
And then it's
this guy's a Republican, this guy's a Democrat, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so then like you were saying, it helps.
They don't even say Republican anymore.
Oh yeah, they say right winger.
They say Trump supporter.
Oh, or Trump supporter. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh. God, that's like a swear
They
word.
used to say Nazi.
Yeah.
Nazi.
Remember that? God damn.
So, are we looking forward to the 2024 election?
I am. I'm looking forward to Kanye West and Tulsi Gabbard running on the Republican ticket, son.
Celebrity deathmatch.
Ooh wee! That's gonna be crazy.
You think Tulsi's gonna run on the R's?
I think
Oh damn.
I think she got a taste of what it's like to if she's the type of person that I think she might be. She got a taste of how crooked and fucking nonsense the Democratic Party is, and she might consider, as she moves about her political career, that if she really does want to make a change, if she really does want to move forward and make a difference and get to the executive level and potentially be a leader for the country, then she needs to do it on the Republican ticket, because ain't no way the Democrats are ever going with somebody who is anti-war.
No.
Fuck you. Fuck anti-war? Bitch, please.
You know what I think the move is? I think the move is Rand Paul for the Republicans, Tulsi as his running mate.
You think that's the play? Rand, I feel like people don't like Rand that much.
Who doesn't like Rand? I love Rand.
Yeah, I think
I think the Dems hate Rand.
Dems hate Rand.
I like Rand, except wait, Rand. Okay.
I think just
not
me-
Ron.
Not Ron.
Ron is the shit.
Ron's retired.
But
Yeah, I was
Rand
gonna
is
say,
kind
the
of like.
geriatrics.
Do you think he's really the one?
I think, yeah.
I mean,
Who would you take over Rand?
I personally would probably take Rand, but as far as a candidate goes to win an election, I feel like I know maybe it's crazy to say, but I feel like Kanye and Tulsi would be way better equipped to win a national election than Rand Paul. Rand Paul's not gonna fucking win a national election, bro.
Dude, I think Rand
He's punkable.
I would do much better than Kanye.
I mean, to be fair, that's probably a practical opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just optimistic.
Also, Rand. People underestimate the value of this. I think Rand has a much better grasp of the actual workings of this stuff than.
You need to hold it a little closer. You need to hold it absurdly close.
Dang, that is absurdly close. I think Rand actually has a good understanding of economics. You know, he actually has a good political philosophy in his head. He's not just like a likable populist character, you know?
I feel like he must if his dad's so knowledgeable. So he must.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way like you can grow up in a household
Yeah,
with Ron Paul as your dad
exactly.
and not have that.
Yeah.
What was
Plus,
Ron Paul's
aren't
big
they
thing?
both doctors?
Both met MDs, yeah.
Both MDs, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they both have MDs. Wasn't Ron?
Aren't
Ron
they both
Paul's-
practicing too? They were both practicing while they were in office.
I'm not sure, because Ron was practicing, and then he was the House of Reps, and then he took some time off, and he went back to his practice, and then I think he's kind of gone back and forth.
God bless them. That's exactly. I mean, well, maybe not exactly how politics should be, but like, you should have a profession outside of politics.
Yeah.
And your goal should be to serve, a couple terms, change the things that you think are important to change.
Yeah.
And then get the fuck out of there and let somebody else do it.
That's what Michael Jackson would say. And get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here.
We need to get some spray foamers in that bitch. Huh?
Spray foamers.
Do what you gotta do
In
and
the-
get
in
the
politics.
fuck out.
They would be down. You guys would know. You guys would know what's going on out there on the ground.
What do you mean?
You guys would know the working class better than anybody. We gotta get some. And of course I'm being silly, but let's get like some of the trades in there. What do you think? What do you think about that, huh?
In the office of the presidency?
Yeah, get them in there. Let's get a.
I think
well,
we need to think a little bit smaller than the presidency to start.
yeah. If
but-
just like a mayor of
Yeah,
the city,
a mayor of your town.
is like a business person.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That would go a long way.
Yeah. Do you know Jenny Durkin's background?
She was a lesbian prostitute, I believe.
Lesbian prostitute.
How dare you?
Oh my God. I didn't know girls pay for sex.
How
They
dare
don't.
you.
It was volunteer.
Oh.
Volunteer. That just sounds like someone who's
Promiscuous.
promiscuous. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's more accurate description of what she was doing.
Oh man, how dare you? Well,
Election.
Wait, can I change the subject?
please do before we're for sure
No,
canceled.
I mean like really change. How do you guys feel with that polar plunge that we did?
Oh, love it.
I can say that I don't know for sure, but I think if I was to do that every day, I would have no worries
At all.
at all.
And the Wim Hof breathing exercises.
The breathing was on extra layer on it, but we didn't do it right, so it it didn't really affect us that much. But when we do it, we should ask Noah, how did it feel?
Good. I mean, I've done the Wim Hof breathing exercises on and off for a couple of years.
He's
Wim
practiced.
Hof.
What's
Such a
what are some of the things that you would say about it to maybe encourage people to do it if you were to try to?
Man, when I first got rolling on it, it was like I would just get off work and you kind of have your like stress up a little bit from the office. Maybe you're on a bit of a time crunch, and it's just amazing how like you can do just one round of his breathing technique and instantly your anxiety levels are like noticeably reduced.
Is it just it's chemicals, right? I mean, you're taking in oxygen, you're breathing out carbon dioxide or monoxide? Dioxide. I mean, isn't that what it is? Basically, you're manipulating that.
Yeah, you're hyperoxygenating yourself, and then when you hold your breath on the out breath, it induces a large stress response, and then that will help to like, it's kind of like if you contract a muscle, you relax harder after. It's like that holding on that out breath. It's like the anxiety goes so hard, and then as soon as you let it go, it's gone.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's also like in metaphorical in a way.
Yeah, kind of.
That's how you know something's true, right? Like if there's like some sort of connection to something else, like intuitively, I'm just like, oh, that's for sure real.
Yeah.
Or is that a trick? That's probably a trick.
Maybe. I mean, I think it is good to be able to connect dots to other things.
It helps with those light bulb moments, I feel like.
Yeah.
When things have a certain cohesiveness to it. I like to think that that's tapping into truth.
Right.
What do you think?
I think it is when there's analogous concepts across things that are like something biologically and then something maybe psychologically.
Yeah, or sometimes my favorite is in like culture, where you see it in culture and like different cultures will practice similar things, and it's a connection to like a human truth then.
I thought about this recently. I don't have any more to say, but
Good. It's great for podcasting. Change of topic?
go for it.
Change of topic? Do you guys have topics? I can fill time. Recently watched Lord of the Rings. Watched them consecutively. Never done this before.
3 in a row on the same day.
No. That's insane.
Yeah.
God couldn't even do that. Each night we watched one.
Okay.
Fellowship. Is it 2 towers or Twin Towers? It's 2 towers,
2.
right? Yeah.
Twin Towers.
Twin Towers is something else. Yeah. And then Return.
Something else.
Oh, how dare you! They rebuilt them. Return of the King. First of all, just want to say, interrupt me at any time if you want to talk about something else, because I could rant about this for a while. The movies are excellent, and I don't know for sure because it's been since about 7th to 8th grade since I read Fellowship. I read The Hobbit a little bit before that, but I didn't read the 2 others, or I haven't yet. I'm going to. But I've been thinking, I don't know exactly how to divvy up credit. It's not really important, but the combination of Tolkien's story and Peter Jackson's telling of it
And
in
Weinstein's
theater,
genius.
Weinstein's genius, how dare you, is
You gotta do
absolutely stunning, in my opinion. Granted, maybe I was a little bit high for this, but I was watching, and I need to make a video about it because there are so many parallels to today's society where we are failing as individuals and as a collective to move throughout life in this archetypical way of the hero's journey. And if we were to all just be a little bit more aware and conscious, and to do that, we would be happier as individuals, and we would be more successful as a collective. So I'm gonna speak to that. But anyways, that's an observation.
Did you write any of this stuff down, or is it all in your head?
Right now it's on my head, which is a problem, sir. It's a big problem.
No, you've seen Lord of the Rings, of course.
I have.
Did you enjoy them?
I did, yeah.
I did too. Yeah.
I'll share one thought on Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure who first pioneered this analogy, but I first heard it from the now banned YouTuber Stefan Molyneux.
Oh, yes.
You know Molyneux?
I remember Stefan, the IQ man.
Yeah.
Supremacist.
Yeah, the bald guy.
I remember him. I remember watching him a few times.
Okay, so
I followed his Twitter for a while.
Honestly, he wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Did you like him?
So I listened to Molyneux starting in like 2012, and this was long before the IQ stuff.
You were ahead of the curve.
Molyneux didn't get into IQ stuff until probably like 2015.
Is this guy a positive? Is this a positive thing? Would you say?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, here's the thing: Molyneux has a nose for danger, and it's like
He's in there.
before it was the IQ stuff, it was other stuff, right? So like when I first got into him, the first thing he was going after was feminism.
Oh Lord!
And it's like he just has that nose for danger, you know.
What did he say?
Oh, and sorry, before feminism, even it was spanking. He had a newborn daughter, and he was this big evangelist for don't ever spank your kids. Spanking has negative impacts on kids. Everyone who spanks their kids is abusing their child.
And he's an anarchist, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And the way he describes it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because he says, like, it's not how you think, just like everything's going crazy. All the systems would be set up way differently if it was anarchy from the beginning. And so it's, yeah, anyways, I just want to throw that out there. But he gave you a Lord of the Rings idea?
Correct, yeah. So the school of anarchism, the like anarcho-capitalist logic usually emanates from the non-aggression principle. Are you guys familiar with that?
No.
So I'll let Kurt finish that microphone work first.
Sorry, I think this will make it easier to hold it close to our face all the time. Because I just realized this. There we go. Do you want to take that one off?
No.
Sorry.
The non-aggression principle basically just says you will not initiate force or fraud against somebody else. Right? You can use force in response, but you can't initiate force. So that would be things like if somebody comes in to rob you, that person is initiating force, and you can punch that guy in the face or hit him with your
The Zimmerman principle?
I don't quite want to pitch it that way because I would say it predates Zimmerman by a few thousand years, but
Is lying a form of fraud?
Well, depends. It has to be lying over a contractual exchange for it to be fraud. So if I just tell you my pubes are green, right, that's a lie, but it's not necessarily it's not fraud because we don't have a contract over the color of my pubes.
I'm gonna say, did you swim in the canal today?
Yeah.
Green Lake. He's been in Green Lake a little too much.
But if I'm selling you a couch and I tell you the couch is green, it turns out the couch is red, that would be fraud.
I'm gonna say, fuck your couch.
Yeah, because then I'm making a material lie related to the terms of our contract.
Right. So if it doesn't involve money or assets, then it's okay. I mean, maybe something more specific than that.
Specifically an exchange of property rights.
Yeah. Okay.
So I could say my car is my asset and it's green, but the car is really white. So that would be a lie about an asset, but it wouldn't be fraud because you have no contract regarding my car.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to Molyneux. Molyneux used the analogy if he said that the analogy of the ring in Lord of the Rings, the one ring that Bilbo and Frodo have, that is violating the non-aggression principle.
Wait a minute, what?
Explain.
The ring is initiating force in Frodo.
So Sauron, by creating the ring, because he lied, because it was deceit, right, in the contract.
No, exactly. So the analogy is, think about somebody who's like, I can use the state for good.
This is exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this shit. Okay, what?
The state is relying upon taxation, which relies upon the initiation of force. Taxation is not a voluntary arrangement.
Right.
So, in order to have taxation, and thus in order to have a state, you have to violate the non-aggression principle. You have to commit aggression to have.
That's why he's an anarchist, because the ring is fucking evil, and it's the ring of power, and that's why we don't want politics, and we don't want government, and we want to be free to be left to our own devices so that we can pursue our own interests unburdened.
Yeah, and the temptation everybody has is like, okay, yeah, maybe I didn't like George Bush or I don't like Donald Trump, but if I were in office,
everything is gonna be great.
Everything will be much better because I have better ideas. I'm not a bad person
and I'm compassionate.
So that's the same temptation with the ring. This ring is super powerful, and each person, whether it's Sauron, or Boromir or Smeagol or whoever, everybody that holds this thing thinks, yeah, it's been bad in everybody else's hands.
Yes.
But now that I have it, I can do good with it. And ultimately, the analogy that Molyneux
or sometimes not. Sometimes people in the characters in the story would be like, I'm going to use this for my purposes, they don't
Sure,
care.
sure.
But to your point, a lot
Yeah.
of them are very well intentioned, and the movie
Yeah.
makes a point. Like every single buddy, even Gandalf, who is the wise king. He's
Yeah.
the wise king archetype.
He
and
says he doesn't want to carry it.
doesn't even want to touch that thing.
Yeah.
I won't even touch it.
Yeah.
So we must create a government.
We must
Or a
abolish the
society.
government.
If we must have a government, we have to create it such that the powers are very limited, which gives you the United States, greatest country in the world. Thank
That's
you very much.
what-
Good night.
That's
I
what
mean,
our
this is-
forefathers set up, and it was a decent idea. I will give them that. It was a decent idea. It failed, and I will say it failed because we failed as a people, because we kept allowing government to grow and become more powerful and become more authoritarian and to cede freaking liberties for promises of security and then not receive security and just throw away our liberties. And we've just been on this path for far too long. And I just think that it's time we try to live without government.
And
And-
people kept lying, right?
Oh, the lies are
Just like how
rampant.
Nazi Germany started. People were lying. People were unwilling to call people out. Unwilling to, right? Which is
Oh,
going on now.
For sure. And also same thing with evil in the Lord of the Rings, where oftentimes whenever you see the bad guys talking to the other bad guys, they're pitching them on power. It's always power. That's the only thing that evil really lures people with, is power.
Yeah, I mean, you could think of the ring as the right to tax.
The right to tax, the right to put in prison, which also conveniently in U.S. law allows them to be able to make you a slave.
Yeah, but all that stuff.
Do you know that?
If we're gonna reduce it to a
I knew
single
in military prisons. I knew that.
thing,
In military prisons, they make you slaves.
They work like a motherfucker.
Yo, it's
if we're
in the
just gonna
13th
get,
Amendment.
if we're gonna go less woke and more just like, yeah, okay, we can talk about the bad stuff in the prison system, but if we're gonna say what is this
How
thing,
dare you?
and I'm sorry, but you got to hear it. What is this? What is the root of all this stuff?
Government, sir.
I know.
What is the right to tax? Is what makes government possible.
It does.
It's what makes none of this shit gets done without taxation.
It is time to have a Tea Party revolution.
But the thing is, so this is what, and some people think that this was actually J.R.R. Tolkien's original intended analogy.
Oh, I think it is.
That he's basically saying, like, everybody thinks they can do good with this thing, but ultimately nobody deserves this power, and you just got to toss it into Mordor.
You know how you know that's the case too is because it's said in the movie, the ring is power, the ring is power, the ring is power.
Yeah.
Power, 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 power. In real life, not in Middle Earth, what is power? Oftentimes it's political clout, and really all politics is jockeying for power. At least in modern politics. That's what it is. Correct or incorrect?
I would have to think about that. For
Other than Ron and Rand Paul, bless them. Can we name politicians that we are sure are in it for civil servant purposes? I don't think we can name a single goddamn
Unfortunately,
one.
I think we have a handful on the left that, like, they haven't really been offered the kingdom, and they are just kind of like do-gooders, and they're just kind of ignoramuses. Like, I think
Okay,
I kind of think that's what AOC is. Like, I don't think AOC has been offered the world in exchange for her integrity. I think she is just, like, kind of doesn't know what's going on, and she's advocating kind of back-asswards shit.
That may be the case.
Yeah.
Who knows whether it's the case?
I think
but,
for a long time that was the case with Bernie Sanders, too.
oh.
I think it's kind of how it is with Joe Biden. He is the Loch Ness monster of the deep state swamp.
Increasingly as he goes through his mental decline, it's becoming more true of Biden than it was previously.
Maybe it's come full circle.
Yeah.
God damn.
He's coming back to.
Can I get you to say he's the Loch Ness monster of the Deep State Swamp?
No.
Come on.
Who is? Tell me. Is it
no,
Pelosi?
I guess Joe Biden was. Now you're saying he's cognitively.
Is it Dick
gone.
Cheney? Is it actually throwing a curveball? It's actually Dick Cheney.
Are you
Dude,
gonna
I
use the
think
DC?
it's like intelligence officers.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's a good call.
I think Dick Cheney had his time in there and he rotated out. I think it is like one guy that gives me ultra deep statey vibes is James Comey
Comey and the DP.
Who's the new director?
of the FBI, Christopher Wray.
Do you think they have the most power? Like, why are they the Loch Ness monsters?
They just have who's the FBI accountable to?
Isn't it
CIA? No, or they're just
the
completely different?
president?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
The president technically has the authority to fire the director of the FBI,
Yeah.
and then
And then what?
the president has no oversight over the actual operation of the FBI.
Well,
they-
he has
oh, you're
oversight over who's in charge, and theoretically, if they didn't give him the appropriate information, then he would just fire them.
Yeah, I mean, Trump has not, put it this way, Trump has not gotten control of the FBI.
Probably not. No, because it's deep.
Definitely, I'm going to put my foot down here. Trump has no control over the FBI.
Yeah.
They're actively hostile towards him.
They are actively. How is that possible if he's gone through these directors? So it's not at the director level. That's so sinister.
Yeah. Oh, it's sinister as fuck.
Oh, it's sinister as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
I
But
mean-
you know, yes, please do.
oh no, no, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Mine's silly.
you know, there's another thing that if we weren't so partisan, a lot more people would be praising Trump for, is firing these people and going through them and churning them. You know, you could make the argument that they're not going to be as effective as an organization if they're churning their leadership over and over again. But I think a lot of Americans, or maybe it's just me, would be of the opinion that we'd be better off if these entities kind of just did less, probably, right? As far as what they're doing. The FBI, do you feel like the FBI is doing things and pursuing criminal actors that are really a threat to you and me?
That's a good question. I couldn't give you a full inventory of everybody they pursue.
Very few people.
None of us could, but do you get the impression just as you're living your life? I certainly don't. But I could be naive in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like there's the potential of me eating my words in that, like, oh, it's going to turn out to track down interstate serial killers, you know, and it's like, okay, that is someone worth hunting down.
I was gonna say the only people that want the FBI in their lives are Ted Bundy victims.
Yeah.
That's about it. Other than that, no one wants those fuckers.
But that is a good point. I mean, there is a role for that in society, right?
Of course.
But how much better off would we be if instead of having this super political system, if we just had, like, I know it sounds crazy, but what if we just had, like, bounty hunters that you could go to, and that contractually you could be like, yo, listen, this person killed my aunt or whatever, or you could even have it in, like, your what do you call that, in your life insurance or something. You could have a clause like, if I am murdered, then retain dog the bounty hunter for fucking track down of that bitch and kill him.
So now I really want to point this out. You are very much starting to reason along ANCAP lines right now.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is like, we've got this problem. How do we solve it in such a way that doesn't involve taking people's money by force?
And is that not...
That is the whole problem-solving mechanism of the ANCAP philosophy.
Is that not a noble, like, goal? Even just looking at the goal? Like, how can we possibly take the least amount of money by force from the people as possible?
Well, I mean, the ideal is, can you do it without taking money?
Can you do it without? Yeah. But
and if you think about, we do so much incredible stuff in our society, you know, like shipping exact goods to other continents, you know, internet, all this shit. We do so much stuff just through voluntary exchanges.
All the best stuff is through voluntary exchanges.
And it's like, we got a few of these other problems. Can we find ways to solve them with only voluntary exchanges?
the stuff that the government does best is done through voluntary exchange,
The government does best.
right? Like if you think about it, like they create infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
They contract that shit out to a private firm. That private firm competes with other private firms for that government contract.
Yeah, I mean that's still worse than the public sector.
It's still worse, but
Or the
you
private
get what I'm
sector,
saying.
too.
Even inside the government, the best way that the government operates is through interfacing with the private sector.
That still ultimately depends on the goals being set by the government. You know, like let's say you have, you know, we're deciding between who's gonna make the new drones. Are we gonna have Boeing do it, or are we gonna have the Department of Aeronautical Engineering do it?
Or the new ballot counting machines. We're gonna have Dominion do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
God
do we
damn it.
want them to be good at what they're doing? Sometimes we don't. That's the challenge.
I would argue that aside from education, we never want them to be good at what they're doing.
Well, that flies in the face of what you were saying a second ago.
I guess it does.
Yeah.
Wait, but back to the education point. Trump, didn't he hire someone for the Secretary of Education that just hated public schools, which I thought was amazing.
Kellyanne
It was
Conway.
was it Kellyanne?
That was his original hire for Secretary of Education.
Oh, I thought it was somebody else. But I thought it was okay. Maybe it was her. Did she have anti-public school sentiments?
I believe so. I didn't follow her real pre.
Which is
Trump
beautiful.
career.
Which is beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
not that it's not like public schools. I guess.
I have so many thoughts about this.
But I think she really liked the idea of opening more charter schools, which is kind of along your philosophy.
It is. It is actually.
Well, so one more check in the
That
box for Trump.
Skeletor bitch. Pardon me. Yeah, I mean, if she's down for charter schools, Jesus, I should have known that. Aren't charter schools not a great idea?
There is a
Big
strong
sigh.
case for them, right? There
I
is.
think so.
There is. Let me play devil's advocate on charter schools.
Oh dear.
The
You're one
downside.
hell of a devil.
I know.
You're a handsome devil.
The downside to charter schools is this. If a school wants to be recognized as a chartered institution, in order to be eligible to receive chartered funds from parents / the government,
They have to be approved by the government.
they have to be approved by the government, and likely that would compromise their academic integrity.
How do we get around this? Can we...
Let's go back to the Lord of the Rings analogy. What was the solution there?
We have to destroy the ring.
Throw the ring into Mordor.
Yes.
I think
Which
that's the
means
solution
just give me the ring.
there. I think
No,
that's the
you
solution.
can't have the ring, Michael.
If you just drop the ring into Mordor and you say, how do we do this without taxation? The parents either can raise the kids themselves and educate themselves, or they can voluntarily pay the schools out of their own pocket.
Yes, or they can... And...
I just had an epiphany. Go
Oh,
ahead.
please. Epiphany, yes.
You, my friend, are ahead of your time. I had an epiphany. The trend is going to go towards homeschooling because of all
It's
this.
got to.
All the resources are so available now.
And it's also... It's not just the resources are available, but it's... I think the universe is pushing us in that direction with all of these lockdowns, maybe. Because if you think about how unsustainable it is to, for some people, ship their children off when they're, toddlers to daycare for large segments of the day. And then as they get older, increasingly more until they leave the house. This is not a way to consciously raise children that are going to be well adjusted, and that's going to have an impact on society. Now, I don't know if it's overall positive or negative, because I think there's some crazy cool shit that people do when they're when they're in that situation sometimes. Mm-hmm. Artistically especially, right? Mm-hmm. But but that's gonna happen anyways. You're gonna have parents that don't give their kids that attention, right? In this other system, you're just also going to have the parents that actually do well and their kids are going to grow up probably to be very well adjusted and largely a benefit to society.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a comment.
Oh, yeah.
You were saying how there's going to inevitably be those parents that are going to fail and they're going to be less suited to do this job, right?
Yes.
I can see if like all these schools being available is just not even an option in the distant future. That's what we're talking about, right? These schools are just not even existing anymore.
No, I think in this freaking ANCAP utopia that we're designing here, that there would be, because there would be obviously a demand. Not every parent wants to homeschool their kids. There would be a natural demand, and schools would pop up, and thanks to a lack of regulation, they could pop up in the most efficient way and become the best, quickly. And so you would have lots of options for people for schooling. Like, maybe even, in each neighborhood, there'd be like one or two people that just did like a, 10 person, 5 person class, maybe even 3 person class size sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You'd probably have that sort of stuff everywhere. And you might even have the bigger schools too, where people pool their money all together. They're like, hey, we got this program. You buy in, it's kind of like a co-op, $100 a year, your kid gets to go to school here or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the cost, can you guys guess what the cost is per student? I think this is the public
12,000.
school. No, think higher.
What's the question?
Per year?
How much each they spend on each student?
In California, I heard it's $20K.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower than that here, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh, so
17.
I was decent. Okay.
You were
Decent close.
you were decently close.
And just for perspective, the most expensive private schools cost about that.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious how
Yeah. What do you know
coincidental
Blanchett
that is?
costs today?
Blanchett, I think it's like 16 or something.
Oh, is it 16 now?
Nothing.
That seems like a lot.
They've all gotten up. Prep's 20 now. East Side's like 25 now.
That's
How much
insane.
is Lakeside?
Probably
60?
30. Not 60. Nothing 60.
Probably 30.
Probably 30. Yeah.
60 isn't, Seattle U isn't even 60.
Yeah.
Although it's fucking close. Jesus. By the time I left, I think it was 14 a quarter.
14,000 a quarter?
Hey.
No.
Yeah. It was 12 when I started.
For were people actually paying that though?
I mean, some people were.
So that'd be $36K a year in tuition alone?
Yeah. Well, no, that was everything, I believe.
Oh, okay. That's a little better then. So that's like room and board.
No, I don't think it was.
So it is tuition alone.
No, it was like books and,
Okay.
books, I guess.
Yeah. Fuck. That's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't, that's another thing that we're talking about with education. That's why I was like earlier, I could talk about this forever. Because the fact that we're saddling people with so much debt, that's asinine.
Well, we are, and half of that coin is they're settling themselves with debt.
Yeah, but I mean, I should take more. What's this?
It's Lakeside.
$38,000
Oh,
for
God.
Lakeside.
My name's 17.
Woo, Forest Ridge. Damn, girl.
What's Forest Ridge?
33.
God.
Holy macaroni! It fucking cost to cost.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, so burdening these generations of people with that. Okay. Oh, you were saying, oh, they did it to themselves. And I definitely take more responsibility now, but I feel like when I evaluate myself in my life when I was 18, if I think about like relationships, or if I think about things where I really didn't act the way that I feel like I should, where I feel like I made mistakes, I didn't, I've learned my lesson, I don't want to act that way anymore. one of those fucking lessons could have been that I should have, gone and done anything else for the amount of money that I spent.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I'm not crying over here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very fortunate, but like, I think it's. Do you really think you can just say, oh, these 18-year-old, you need to make a better decision, or do you put it on the parents, or what is it? I mean, in some ways, you were responsible and made that decision.
Well, the difference, yes, I picked the lowest cost schools available to me, but that still would have resulted in $20,000 of debt were it not for the fact that when my grandpa passed away, he left money for college to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably bailed me out of $20,000 to $25,000 of debt that I would have otherwise incurred.
Which is solid, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had enough sense to say, like, look, I don't know exactly what I want to study. UW is $9,000 a year. Santa Clara or, some of these other Catholic schools I got into are like $40,000 a year. And I was like, look, if I don't know exactly what I want to do, and I don't know that, these, like, University of San Diego was another school I got into. If I don't know that University of San Diego is the place to do it, and I don't know exactly what I want to do, I can't justify spending an extra $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't wrap my head around that.
It's ridiculous.
But by the same token, my parents did not have that sensibility on their radar.
No, they were like, oh, don't you think it would be fun? Go to Santa Clara?
Yeah, or San Diego. Or
oh, it'd be so cool to go to San Diego.
That weather would be so good. And I was the one that was like, I was totally
God damn, you were a fucking genius, you know that?
I'm a total fucking financial illiterate at this point, though. I really was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know a damn thing. And I was just like, I can't wrap my head around this.
It's those Jewish roots.
It is.
You think it's the J-Dub?
I just had that instinct. I was like, I can't fucking rationalize this. Like, I can't find a way that this makes sense.
Wow.
And they're like,
what about your pops?
I think when I made that pitch to them that way, they were like, well, shit, I can't argue with that.
Oh, you said you pitched it like
I pitched it that way because they were like, these California schools look great. The weather is so nice. I was like, yeah, they look good, but I can't justify an extra $30,000 a year. And, UW has a strong reputation as well. I think it just makes sense for me to go to the place that's the best value for the dollar. And they were like, well, fuck, I want you to talk you out of that.
Because that's a very wise thing.
But they were not pushing that. They were not pushing, like, price sensitivity on me.
That's what I'm saying, though. So, like, blessings to you, first of all. Many blessings. You're wise beyond your years. But do you really think it's reasonable to harshly judge others? And it is harshly judging to say that they deserve being saddled with debt. That's a heavy burden.
Well, I'm not opposed to just folding Sally Mae.
Just being like, yo,
do you know what Sally Mae
done. Is that the federal loan for students?
Yeah. Essentially, you're just folding a government-sponsored corporation, which doesn't have, like, equity holders that are going to get hit. It's just like, the government's assets vaporize.
Beautiful. Win-win.
Yeah. So, it does suck for the people that paid it back.
Yeah.
That
right?
does, yeah.
It sucks for them.
They should not have to pay taxes for like the rest of their lives. Like,
Yeah.
they're tax free.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, fuck it. If there was a movement to just fold that organization, fine.
Do that.
I'm not gonna argue with it.
Handle
This is
that.
somewhat sensitive information, but me and Matt were talking about this, and he has some debt. I won't disclose how much, but he was really excited about the prospect of, right? 'Cause they were talking about that. They were talking about just like canceling all debt.
It's been batted around a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess Biden shut it down. But
Of course.
Yeah.
But I was thinking to myself, like, man, yeah, what you just said, the people that already paid it, and he's already paid like most of it. So it's like,
He's diligent.
yeah, it's like this is ridiculous.
Well, it's bad. It's a bad situation, but you can't stop fixing a bad situation just because you're not going to help everybody, right?
Good point.
That'd be a stupid reason not to fix it, right?
Because you can't help everybody.
Yeah. Like the enemy of the perfect is the enemy of the good, or something like
I'm gonna
that.
have a cliche off.
Let's cliche off, boy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
The
agree with that.
there's never a wrong time for the right decision.
Yeah, I can't think of any more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you look at what Sally Mae is, it's essentially like who gets harmed if you don't pay it back? Who is actually harmed? It's really just a government enterprise.
The American dollar, probably.
Does it?
I don't know. Maybe. Is there a mechanism that would like cause inflation from that?
Not that I can
They're
think
basically printing money, right?
of. No. It's just defaulting on debt.
Oh, okay. But the government loses assets, right?
It's not even the government. It's like a separate entity.
Oh, perfect.
It
Okay.
doesn't go to the treasury, is what I'm saying.
So whoever works for them loses their job.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, you
You
work
knew-
for a cabal.
You knew what you were getting into. These
Sorry.
kids didn't want your freaking $100,000 loan for their liberal arts degree. You knew it.
What can I say about the Department of Treasury that hasn't already been said about Afghanistan? It's been bombed out and depleted.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave Chappelle.
Sorry,
oh,
Noah.
man. That's
We've been watching that clip over and over again.
God,
it's in
it's
my head. I
so
dream about
excellent.
it. I think about it when I'm eating.
It's
That's all I
true
think about.
comedy.
It is.
It's beautiful. Anyhow.
Very insulting what you said about my coat. You seen the player haters ball? Noah?
Yes, it's been many years.
Many years ago.
That's
Yo, we've
Silky
been-
Johnson?
Silky
Yes.
Johnson.
Yeah.
We resurfaced
Yeah, it's been many years since I've seen that.
Oh, man. And then
Do
the
yourself a favor and watch it tonight.
Okay.
oh,
When you get
man.
home.
Treat yourself. Yeah, and then the race draft. The race draft is excellent. Obviously.
Jews select Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz.
Love Kravitz. Oh, man.
The black people select Tiger Woods.
For shizzle.
No, he says this is the first time a black person has won the lottery. And then Bill Burr goes, and they'll still probably complain.
Oh my god. That was a beautiful show for a brief moment in time.
That was
Very
such a
brief.
smart sketch because that's actually kind of something that like people think about, like, you know, what, like for Tiger Woods, Asian people probably do kind of feel a sense of pride when they think about him, you know, and some of these half.
Pete Fong loved Tiger Woods. I know that.
If you
Who?
He was a prep golfer who was from Thailand.
There you go.
And he loved
Exhibit
Tiger
A.
Woods. Yeah.
I feel like okay, maybe whatever. I feel like I've talked to a lot of folks that are, you know, so-called mixed race, and
So called.
you
Quote unquote mixed race.
quote unquote, you can
Allegedly.
no, I just mean like it's a silly dynamic.
I'm just
I
messing
think.
with you.
Yeah, thank you for that. You claim whatever the fuck you want to claim in the moment. That's how it goes. I bet Tiger Woods, just like everybody else, is like repping, you know, one side sometimes and repping another side another time.
No,
Because
of course
that's
the
the-
subject can claim whatever they want, but the group, that's what we're talking about.
Well, the group is just going to claim that's the point of the joke is the group only wants them if the group fucks with whatever they're doing.
Which is that terrible? I don't think
It's
that
not
terrible.
it's not terrible or whatever. It's just a weird and sometimes unattractive element of humans and groupthink mentality. Right?
Tribalism.
Tribalism, yeah. But at the same time, because it's like, wait, I'm only part of your group if I act this way. But then, in a way, it's kind of beautiful because like anyone could be part of that group if they just act like the group, and it doesn't matter about your immutable characteristics. But did I use that word right?
Yep.
All right, good. Been very ranty today. Tonight.
I mean, that's what this whole.
I feel like that's what this is for.
That is what it's for.
So apologies to no one. Fuck you. I'm kidding. I don't.
God, you went on a roller coaster there.
I only fucking.
You said, "Sorry for ranting. Apologies to no one. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
Just went up and down.
it's because
fuck on
fuck on you.
Can I? Do you?
Fuck on you.
What is that from?
Boy?
I'm channeling Leslie Chow, but I don't know if he actually said anything like that.
Is that the Hangover Asian and all the funny movie Asian guy?
Yeah.
No, I got a question.
He's excellent.
Wait, is your? Sorry if it's offensive. Is your girlfriend Asian?
You fuck on me. She's half white, half Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she?
Shinjuku Special.
Or no, I guess I should ask you this. Are you somewhat of a weeb?
What?
Are you somewhat of a weeb?
I don't even know that term.
Have I told you the term?
Yes, you told me.
I learned this when I was
fucking racist.
I learned this when I was in the Bay Area because there was a lot of just a lot of Asian culture, and you learn this just being there. That it's like a white person who's like obsessed with Asian culture, gamer. And,
How dare you?
What does it stand for? Is it an acronym?
It's got to be an acronym or something, but it's
White.
it's a beautiful thing because it's like so accurate. Like there are certain people that just fall into that category.
It's got to be white, right? Let's look up weeb.
White something. But are you this, or are you just like kind of moderately into?
No, so you're talking about like anime and video games?
Yes.
And shit?
Yep. Yes.
No, I don't do any of that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not,
I don't do any of that shit.
you're not a weeb.
Okay, a weeb is a derisive term for a non-Japanese person who is obsessed with Japanese culture that they wish they were actually Japanese. I'm guessing white and
So
yeeb,
specifically Japanese.
maybe.
There was kind of that.
What
like,
does weeb stand for? Weeb.
Japanophilia. What the fuck?
God, it's
I have
like. Can I just go on
I have
another
Japanophobia.
fucking rant? Can I go on another rant?
Please.
Okay.
Big please.
It's I'm sorry. Okay. Why is everything either phobia or philia? Like, fuck you. If I like Japanese culture, can that be celebrated? And if
fuck on me.
You're a fucking weeb.
and if I don't like your culture, like, as long as I'm not rude to you and go into your house and shit on your house, can I not express the fact that I don't like?
This is the first stage of accepting that you're a weeb.
Fucking A.
The first stage is the anger.
Weeb is a
Chris went through this 10 years ago.
God
It's okay.
damn it. Okay, you know what? I am not a weeb.
Wait, you're not even close. You're not
Does
even
Chris
close.
express like a love for Japanese culture?
He is more CCP
He's
than Japanese.
he's just Asian culture, and we're fairly certain that he gets monthly checks from Xi Jinping himself.
He
And
cashes
has
them
Asian
checks.
hookers. And he has Asian
Look
hookers.
at
'Cause-
PETA. PETA is chilling hard.
PETA is the one, son.
And PETA, I mean, you're a peaceful man, Noah, but she has a thing for guests. So
Does
it's
she?
not. Yeah, it's not just you, but.
Why would you shit on Noah's pussy parade?
But she does.
I don't want him to get too high.
She does. You know, it's interesting because you'd think that a cat would be afraid of strangers.
Yeah, no, but yeah, she isn't.
No, we don't fucking abuse our cat here, so she's not afraid of
She sees a new person and
strangers.
she just wants to like come hang out with them for like an hour.
Yeah, because we're all cool. Every time she sees somebody walk through the door, she's like, fuck yeah, you're probably going to feed me, maybe play with me with the laser, maybe fucking allow
me
me to
again.
bite you and claw you or knock things over throughout the night and disturb you, and we'll just have a grand old time.
She fucking loves this house. This is cat heaven. I mean, look at all these nooks and crannies. Especially
We are
with this.
we are nook and crannied up. I saw her burrowed up over there in that fucking midst of nonsense.
Pop her head out of the corner.
She was just chilling.
Wait, no, you were friends with Gonzo. That's how I met Gonzo, right? Because of
Probably.
you know, I ran into him. Sorry, this is way changing subject.
No, please do. I
ran
need to
into
use the
him-
bathroom anyway.
Not
So I'll
him,
be right
but
back.
I ran into someone who he played football with at PLU. When I was in Palo Alto. And I was thinking about renting this room from this guy,
Yeah.
and his son was like playing video games in the next room, and somehow got brought up that he went to PLU, and I was like, oh, I remembered Gonzo. I was like, oh, I know a guy who went there. And he was like, oh yeah, well, I played football. I was like, what, you played football there? He's like, do you know Gonzo? He's like, oh, I know Gonzo. So it was just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, just like through
That's a small world.
Yeah, through.
Do you remember the guy's name?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember his name. Yeah,
Probably
but
not
do you
someone I would have met anyway. But
still keep in touch with Gonzo?
oh yeah, I talked to him on New Year's.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
He just took his board exams. He was doing nursing school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he was after college. He worked as an EMT, and then his like way up to a better paying gig was nursing school.
Yeah.
So he did nursing school. He took his board exams. He passed, and now he's doing like a residency program as a nurse.
That's awesome. Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Is he still not? I'm not saying he's fat, but is he still a big boy?
Yeah, I mean
He's lost weight because he's
in the
actually
health
in better shape
field.
than he was a few years ago.
Oh, definitely.
But he can
Yeah.
still wreck somebody, I bet.
Yeah.
He's strong as fuck. Isn't he lifting every day?
I don't know about every day. I lifted with him once during quarantine, and he was moving some weight for sure.
Fuck.
That doesn't leave you.
Is he still
The big boy.
is he still squatting in the 500s?
I wouldn't be shocked. He didn't do big squats when I was with him, but yeah, he benched.
Yikes.
He was repping on bench at like 275, no problem, and like he still can move it around for sure.
Dude, you know what's scary? These guys at PLU, these guys probably aren't even starting. He probably wasn't starting.
He was starting.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I don't know. He had some injuries, so he was not like always playing, but
When we watched, he was in the game a lot.
yeah,
Remember we
Yeah.
went to that game?
yeah, I do.
And he was in the game.
Yeah, he was.
Like every play.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit to remember like what percentage of plays he was in on, but I'll take your word for it.
But I'm
I just remember seeing I don't remember thinking, "Oh, man, my buddy's not in the game."
Right.
I remember thinking, "Shit, he's out there."
Yeah, yeah,
My point is that these guys who are at PLU are squatting crazy weights. Imagine going up against a fucker at Alabama or Ohio State.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah.
Scary.
No, thank
You know what I mean? Like-
son.
You know, and you see him on TV, you're like, there's something creeps into your mind that thinks maybe I could do
no,
that.
no.
Not even
No, no,
close,
no,
not
no.
even-
Well, the
You-
thing is, here's
you-
the thing. The concept would be strong even for one of those D1 schools.
Yeah, he
The
is
thing
strong.
is, he's just that super small squatty build,
Yeah.
whereas the guys on Alabama are 6'2", 6'3", doing
Bigger
that.
frames.
Right.
Yeah, and
Just
they're
larger frames.
they're moving that same weight another 12 inches on their squat.
I also have a theory why Michael thinks that about football because he was actually good at football. You know, so
Did you play all 4 years at Blanchett?
Freshman, sophomore, didn't play junior year.
You coulda,
Senior
though.
year.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I
he
could've.
easily could have, and he would have been one of the better players on the team. And I think therefore he probably could have played at like PLU, maybe not starting. I don't know, maybe not, but you could have been playing. So I think you could have been doing that. And so sometimes in your most delusional moment when you're watching the Division I players, you're like, I maybe could have done that because you maybe could have. If you have the talent to do what you did, then unless you really maximized it, which only you could know, I think you have the
Which very
potential.
few people do.
Which very few people do. I think you had the potential to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. And some people do, and some people don't, and for all various reasons. For me, I never would think that. In soccer, I do think that especially about the MLS. But it's people tell me I'm delusional, but those people don't know me, and they don't know what the fuck I did on the soccer field, so they can fuck off.
Would you
But
say
anyways.
would you say goalie's the most athletic position?
I'd say it definitely can be.
But just like on average, like out of all the MLS teams, or maybe I guess that's a hard one.
It depends on your terms of athleticism. If you mean generally the biggest players that move the fastest and explode the quickest, I'd say yes. But if you were to consider like
What
endurance,
position does Messi play? Forward?
yeah, he kind of plays midfield.
Midfield. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does or does play forward sometimes.
I developed a love for Messi this summer. But anyways,
Well,
go ahead.
do you know? Is he a striker or is he
was
midfield?
forward.
Right?
He was forward when they had La Liga this last summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe he's always been like that.
And what's like Cristiano Ronaldo?
Ronaldo's striker.
Oh wait,
100%.
no. He was a mid, and Ronaldo's striker. That was the difference. I remember that now.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. It's been a while since I followed that shit, but yeah, Ronaldo's a classic striker. He's and that's the other player that I would that's the other position group that I would generally compare to the goalkeepers. In fact, a lot of goalkeepers play forward or striker just for shits and giggles sometimes. And then I think it's also the scoring element of it. But anyways, I think they're also generally similar athletes on the soccer field. Blah, 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 blah.
What do you know about Salah?
Oh,
is the
Salah?
man- I don't know why I have such an affinity for him.
He's Egyptian, right? Or
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah, he's Egyptian.
Okay, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah.
He's probably the most popular man in Egypt. I would venture to say that.
I mean,
On Liverpool's such
if
a
I
strong
remember
team.
right, he has a nice left foot.
And
Is he left-footed?
I think he's right. I think
He's got, but I remember him having a nice left, and that's always when somebody is technical with both feet. That's really how you know that they're the one. Because to play at a high level, obviously you got to be miraculous with one foot.
And he is fast as a mofo.
He flies.
He flies.
I wonder what those dudes run.
See,
Do they I know they track. I know they have like advanced analytics now in soccer. But I don't think they have like combines or anything. Like testing things. Yeah, anyways. Shows you how much I know.
my interest in soccer was solely based on like individuals. And I think that's kind of how like it's kind of how I got into like tennis a little bit. No, I know you're into tennis.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I got into tennis a little bit, and I think that's kind of the way that you get into a lot of sports that you don't grow up with. Like I got into Nadal like crazy, right? King of clay, but can't do shit. Can't do shit at Wimbledon, right?
He's won Wimbledon.
He's won it, but I mean, no,
But he's won.
Djokovic clearly dominate. Federer, Djokovic, they dominate, right?
Yeah. Nadal's won Wimbledon, but he's won Roland Garros
And
14 times.
is that French?
French Open?
French
Yeah.
Open, yeah.
He's won that 14 times, and he's won Wimbledon like twice, I think.
And Messi got me really into soccer this summer, and Salah, and so I think, I don't know, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think that's powerful. I think the NBA realizes that with their marketing of players, and I think that's something that separates football from the other sports in a way, and hockey to a degree, because they wear masks and they're not as recognizable as individuals oftentimes. Just not to be a nag, but again, if you don't hold your microphone up, just gonna sound like you're in the room, but that's totally fine.
I was holding it down because I wasn't actually saying anything.
Facts. But again, not to be a nag. So, do you guys prefer that? Is that why you like those sports, Michael? Is because of the individual element? I think for Noah, I mean, I'll ask. No, I think no. You like tennis for the technical aspect of it, and for other things, not the individual aspect of it.
I do like the technical aspect. You know, the motor skills required to be a tennis player are really, really high level. Whereas, you know, there is a certain thing. You know, it's not like I dislike sports where brute force gets you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's like with an Aaron Donald, or somebody like that. It's like in football, brute force can take you a long way.
Correct.
In tennis, brute force doesn't get you very far. It's like very fine motor skills that they need to develop, and it takes, you know, a couple decades to do it, and it's cool to me to see.
Is it?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say same thing with golf, right?
Oh yeah,
With golf,
no question.
You love, and I think I could say the exact same thing about golf. I got into some individuals, and then it got me into the sport. But yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it has something to do with appreciating the mastery of something that is so difficult to do technically, and that you understand is difficult to do technically.
Yeah.
And that's why certain things that are a little bit more niche, like, you know, bowling or something like that, I think people appreciate it less because they don't understand it. They don't do it. Whereas when people golf, they understand how fucking hard that is. Or when they play tennis, these are very popular sports. I met somebody on the plane. I was just flying to Cleveland. Met somebody on the plane. He says he doesn't go anywhere without his tennis clubs. Or fucking tennis rackets, I should say. Pardon me. It's like it's a legit popular sport. But anyways.
I don't go anywhere without my tennis clubs either.
God damn. Such a retard. Okay, so sports. Good times. Sports ball. Do we want to get back to politics?
I heard one interesting analogy I'll share with you guys. I actually have to run in a minute after this. I'm going to ski in the morning, so
Okay.
yeah,
Can't make it too late.
Yeah, but it was an interesting analogy by a blogger who I can tell you guys more about if you want. But he used the analogy where he said, "What is democracy for?" Right.
Okay.
And
it's a great question.
His solution is democracy is a head count, because if there were a civil war, you want to know how the teams would stack up.
Oh fuck.
And what he was basically saying is democracy is a way for you to know whether you would be on the losing side or the winning side of a civil war.
What do you think about this?
Well, so the analogy gets better.
Oh, great.
So, at a very he was talking about things like people who were confined to their houses and voting, and he's like, this is actually not as good, because if you can't actually walk to a voting booth, you're probably not going to be very useful in a civil war. So he was just saying, this is a way of us avoiding coming to blows and people to see, I wouldn't be on the winning side anyway, I might as well just acquiesce and let them rule. So here's his analogy next. And it was in this context of the 2020 election.
What's this person's name?
Curtis.
Stefan Molyneux.
Oh, shit.
Curtis Yarvin is his name.
Okay.
And what he said, he used the analogy of the sport of water polo. This guy's brilliant, by the way. I don't say that very often. He is really, noticeably intelligent.
It's because you're so smart. You don't
that I
say
can
it
pick up on it? Yeah.
Well, and that you don't say it often because you're already above somebody. Anyway.
Yeah, there's no missing it with this guy, though. So, what he basically says is, in water polo, you have referees, right? But the referees can only see what's above the water. And there's a ton of fouling in water polo, and all of it happens below the water where the referees can't see. That's where people can knee each other and elbow each other and punch each other and kick each other in the crotch and that kind of stuff. And basically he says there is a certain element of cheating in water polo, and it's just that there are limits to where you can do it.
It's in fact almost built into the game at this point.
It's built into the game, yeah.
Because they understand that this is the case. They could change it, but they don't.
Yeah. And maybe, yeah, exactly, close enough.
Damn it.
Oh, no, that's basically the right idea. That's basically the right idea.
Tie this back to democracy.
Tying it back to democracy. What he says is, you have an election where it's a head count to see who would win the Civil War, but there is a certain component of elections that are the equivalent of being below the water in water polo.
Okay.
And that's where he said all this voter fraud shit comes in. He's like, this is the equivalent of one side punching the other ones in the nuts underwater. And he's like, but this is just the game. And if it
facts.
And when he goes,
this has been the way.
Exactly. And it's like when you use this head count analogy of who would win a civil war, you have one side that's saying there are more of us, and the other side that's punching them in the nuts underwater. And he's like, you know what? If you can't stop them from punching you in the nuts underwater, you probably don't win the Civil War.
Ooh, take that, righties.
Yeah. Which I thought was an interesting take and not totally wrong.
Not totally wrong, and I know, it's right.
But the analogy sounds very accurate. But with water polo, it's just a game. And with this, you're dealing with real lives.
Unfortunately, sir, politics is just a game.
Well, there's definitely
To these people, it's just a game.
Definitely a large
We
percentage. It's a game.
came, we saw, he died.
There's a large percentage that's a game, but there's also a part of it that keeps you at home because you're in COVID time.
Oh, COVID time.
Which is real life, and it keeps you at home, right? Those are real ramifications. Those are real ramifications.
I don't understand, Michael.
I'm saying that although a large part of it is a game, when these people get elected, they do make choices that actually have ramifications in your life.
For
So
sure.
it's not just completely a game, and so
No, my point is it's a game for them. But
Oh, okay.
you're right. It has real life ramifications
Yeah,
on us,
so while
unlike
we-
water polo.
So while we can accept the water polo nut kicking,
Yeah,
we
this
shouldn't be
is why
accepting
we need
this
to
nut
abolish
kicking.
the government. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Right.
nut kicking shouldn't be.
Right,
So we shouldn't
but-
have the attitude like just play the game better. We should have the attitude like
I
abolish
agree.
this
But
shit.
imagine you're playing water polo and somebody punches you under the water.
I'm gonna kick him in the crotch.
In the sport of water polo, you kind of have to enforce it right back. And if you look at what has happened in American politics, the left is willing to baselessly accuse the right of being white supremacists. The right is not the white. The right is not even can't even marshal the courage to say you guys fucking cheated on these elections.
No, we can't.
And
We can't. I love you.
That's,
Few of
the-
us.
damn.
that's
Only a
the,
few of us.
It's the water polo equivalent to getting kicked in the nuts and being like, "Hey, I don't like that," and the referee being like, "What happened?" and then being like, "Nothing."
It's so soft.
That's what we got going on, right?
That's soft as fucking
Isn't it?
Downy.
Yeah, and that's why Yarvin said, like, look, until you can marshal this kind of, you need to be able to marshal more than that, or you don't deserve to win.
Yeah. So is his point? You need to. They basically needed to kick the Democrats in the balls.
Yeah, I mean,
They needed to gerrymander the shit out of that, son.
You can't be pretending like you got caught with your pants down in this election. Like you need to be able to enforce election integrity. You need to be able to like stand up and make sure.
They've been trying to enforce election integrity for years, and they can't do that
And our
shit.
politicians are
And-
still afraid to say that shit went wrong.
Can we just go back to kings and queens?
What happened? Nothing.
Wouldn't that be dope if we had a king?
No, it wouldn't be
That'd
dope
be
if we had a
fucking
king,
dope.
dude. That's the whole point of fucking Lord of the Rings.
Oh, king.
No.
What happened in Detroit? Nothing.
God damn.
How about
son.
Georgia when that pipe burst? What was going on? Nothing.
Whoa, the pipey.
Ooh, that pipey.
Oh my lord.
The only
Jesus.
state that still has some integrity is Florida.
Florida got
They
that
ran
shit
that shit
handled in 4 hours.
hours.
They did.
Son,
They did.
how can a
DeSantis.
state with such fucking buffoonery have the most prestigious government ever?
I'm gonna ask for a vocab check on the word prestigious.
Prestigious. I heard somebody say it that way once, and I thought it was so funny that I wanted to say it on a podcast.
I didn't even know you were trying to say prestigious. I couldn't tell what you were trying.
You couldn't?
I couldn't tell what you were going for.
Ah, damn.
Do we think that the world would be better if everyone did a pull plunge once a week?
Oh, for sure. Everyone would be better, right? Everyone.
Can we- Wait, how did Wim Hof get so fucking
Enlightened.
popular?
Okay, can we maybe, well, I don't want to end, but if we were to end soon, can we end on a positive note that there are people like Wim Hof in this world who are discovering crazy cool things seemingly out of nowhere and opening people's consciousness to truths, and some people choose to go down that path and some people don't, whatever.
And he's able to present to us on that beautiful left-wing invention called YouTube.
It's a right-wing invention and now a left-wing
Probably.
fucking tool of destruction.
Probably it was a troll invention,
But-
most likely.
I mean, that's how it came about, right? When it was cat videos, no one gave a shit about YouTube.
Those are the days. Right? Just the-
I still watch cat
junk.
videos. That stuff is so much fun. I used to, when I worked in technology, I used to love watching people play video games. And all sorts of me and my buddy Zach, we would watch fail videos, like fail army videos. Mm-hmm. Dude, that shit is so funny.
Yeah, that can be pretty funny.
Oh my god, the internet. Many blessings to the internet. Speaking of which, it's now 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. As such, blessings to the internet. Blessings to both of you.
Give blessings to the north, the south, the east, and the west.
Blessings to all under the sun, the moon, and the stars on this flat earth. Or whatever.
Flat as a
do you want to go?
pancake. Flatter than
Okay.
Flatter than a CCP booty.
Do you want to continue after Noah leaves?
No, I'm done.
Yeah, so we're all done. Any final remarks?
Yes. What's more flat, a CCP booty or a blueberry pancake?
I think
The blueberry pancakes have like dimples for the blueberries.
That's true. So I would say the CCP butt is more flat.
but not Lucy Lou's bud. Right?
I think you're being duped with some of the
What?
camera
How
and the
dare
lighting.
you?
I think the lighting's getting you.
How dare you and how dare me?
Is she
How
thick?
dare we?
Loose.
How dare she? No. Okay. What?
I was gonna say, is Lucy Liu? Is she thick?
Yeah, I think she might be thick.
All right.
She might not be thick, but she's fine. Anyhow,
He is dreaming. Look at this guy. He was straight fast asleep.
how dare you misgender
Sorry.
our cat?
Mrs. Peta.
Yes,
Ms. Peta.
Is she leaving us?
MX PETA. She is
straight
going
to
to be
sleep.
leaving us. She is.
There's
gonna
a
be
part of
leaving
me
us.
that's a
It's
small part of
terrible.
me that's excited that she's leaving because my wounds will heal and I won't have to worry about letting her out. But that's
And-
like 10%. 90% is sad.
And I won't miss the incessant meowing in the mornings before feeding time.
Oh my god, that was bad.
I won't miss that. But I will miss everything else about the except for the kitty litter.
Once a week, we get the cat from hell who's just hungrier than.
Yo, do you think she's PMSing? There's no way she's neutered.
I'm not. Is she not?
She's spayed.
All right, we should log off.
Okay.
Goodbye, folks.
Good night.
Goodbye. Vote for Donnelly.